Anyone wishing to take a call on part one? I call Sarah Dowie.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and it's a pleasure to take a call in this committee stage for the Conservation Infringement System Bill. I'm not going to labour the points too much in this debate, Madam Chair. I'm simply going to go over our objection to the departure of this bill, especially in part one, from the original intent of the bill that was introduced under National and under the Honourable Maggie Barry. So first of all, I would say that as outlined in part one, we do support that the Department of Conservation should be given the tools to enforce, basically be an enforcer to make sure that people are held to account if they commit offences on the conservation estate. However, what we don't support is the extension of the powers of infringement to Fish and Game as a non-governmental agency. Now that is detailed in part one, and as such I refer to an SOP that is under my name that I have placed before this House that seeks to delete all references to giving Fish and Game rangers the powers of issuing infringements, especially in part one. It also refers to those deletions in part 8, but mainly relates to part one in this bill. And that's because we believe that the infringement system should be fair and objective across all of New Zealand. And given that there are 12 local Fish and Game officers that loosely report to a national body, we are not confident that the system can be maintained in that fair and objective manner. So my SOP looks to basically delete all references to Fish and Game and bring the bill back to its original intent that was first mooted under or brought to the House by the Honourable Maggie Barry and devised by the previous government. Look, the bill, all of the parts look to extend an infringement system across the board over a number of different acts in which the Department of Conservation has powers and regulates. At the moment, the Department of Conservation has two options. Obviously, to give warnings to people that may be or allegedly commit an offence, or to continue to prosecute if they have sufficient evidence. Obviously, giving warnings if it's a non-serious alleged offence is acceptable. But often when there is a serious offence that occurs on the conservation estate or near threatened or endangered species, then a prosecution is warranted. But again, you need sufficient evidence, it takes time, it's quite costly. So often what rangers will find is that they do need a midway point, and this infringement system will certainly give that to rangers to apply to offences that would not have significant policy ramifications, but are, of course, that midway point between warning and prosecution. And it means that those issues can be dealt with swiftly. It doesn't necessarily go on people's records as a criminal offence, it's a summary offence, and can be dealt with a fine, a reasonable fine, that will often deter people from offending again when they are recreating or going about their business on the conservation estate. So while this was a National Party bill, and we do support the Department of Conservation as an enforcement government agency because this is a departure from the original to give Fish and Game rangers the powers of infringement, issuing infringement notices. We simply cannot support this because it will take the system away from an objective nature.
Just before I give the call, I just have to apologise to members. The question I should have put was the question is that parts 1 to 9 and clauses 1 and 2 stand part. So someone wishing to seek that call? I call the Honourable Scott Simpson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. That's a good decision, and I appreciate you giving me